We're in the middle of Nun Zayin with Beis. That's 6 or 7 lines down. We just had a Mishnah that mentioned that some things you do, a person, if you're there for 3 years, it does not create a chazaka, like putting your animals in someone's property. But if you were to build a fence, then that would create a chazaka. And we tried to figure out what's the case of our Mishnah. So at one point, the Gemara thought it's talking about shutfin, about partners, and partners aren't so strict with each other about where you can put your animals. So therefore, the fact that you put it there and the guy didn't say anything doesn't show us anything. Then we said, but that's a big problem because it says in the Darim, if you make a neder, if you prohibit yourself from all the other person's property and you can't get any enjoyment from his property, so in that case, you're not allowed to even walk into, your partially owned chutzner, because every part of the chutzner is owned by you and owned by him. And if you use his property, that'd be a violation of your neder. So how do you answer up such a contradiction? So we are, Rav Papa Amar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines down, fourth to last word, or fourth word on the line. Rav Papa Amar, Idi b'chatzir hashutfin. Really, both the Mishnah in Adarim and the Mishnah in Bava Batra, our Mishnah, are talking about a chatzir that's jointly owned. And the case is, sometimes people are makbid, meaning sometimes they're strict and don't let people come on their property. And some people are not so strict. So now, which one is this guy? Is he from the strict people or from the not strict people? So says the Gemara, Gabe mamona lekula. Gabe isur lechamar. When it comes to mammon, in our case, our Mishnah is a monetary case. So in that case, we're going to be lenient and we're not going to remove the property from its original owner. We will, if you have your animal there, we're going to assume that that guy is someone who is not makbid. And he can actually claim, if you want to prove that I am makbid, I am strict about not letting animals in my field, and therefore it's been 3 years and it should belong to you, then you have to prove that, because I can always say I'm from the not makbid people that don't mind. And if you're there for 3 years, it doesn't create a chazaka. But Gabe Isura, when it comes to Nadarim, there's an Isra over here. If you're going to go into someone's chutzner, someone's courtyard, and you prohibit yourself from deriving benefit from them, so then if you do it, you're over an Isra in the Torah. So that's why in Nadarim it says that they can't walk into each other's chutzner, because there we're talking about Isurim, and Isurim Allah is, right? If there's a chance that the guy is from the makbid group, so then we have to be strict and not allow you to even enter the courtyard, because maybe he's from the strict group, and therefore it'd be a violation of your neder, of your vow. Ravina Amar, no. La'olam lo kapti. Really, people are not generally makbid. They're not generally strict about people using their shutfin. Partners are not generally strict about allowing the other one to use their property. So then, if that's true, so why does that Mishnah say that you can't even walk into the chutzner? So Reuven and Shimon. Reuven vowed that he'll never get any benefit from Shimon. Shimon vowed back, and I'll never get any benefit from Reuven. Only problem is they jointly own a courtyard. So if they're both not makbid, they're in general not strict about letting people onto the chutzner or having their, people bring their animals into the chutzner, so then the fact that you not animals, entering into the chutzner. So since you're not generally strict about people entering into your chutzner, when this guy enters, that's not considered asur bahana. That's not called he's getting benefit, because that's something which you don't really care about. You're not really makbid on that. If you're not makbid on it, so then that's not considered getting direct benefit from you. That's not enough benefit that you would violate the vow. So if that's true, then why does the Mishnah Darim say it's also for partners to enter into the chutzner. If you're not makbid, you're not makbid, you're not strict about it, and you let people enter all the time, that's not considered getting hana. So says the Gemara, you're right. If you'd go at the Chachamim, you're right. That Mishnah would be a problem. However, that Mishnah is not like the Chachamim, and it's actually like the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. And basically, the machlokas Chacham and Rabbi Eliezer is that when you make a neder from someone, when you make a vow to prohibit yourself from getting benefit from somebody else, so you're not allowed to get benefit from them. If the other person is generally not strict about certain things, the fact that you went onto his property, that's not considered that you took hana from him. That's not enough hana. If he never lets anybody use, his $1 million shofar, and you prohibit all hana from him, then you cannot go use the shofar. However, if he lets everybody walk through his chutzner, so the fact that you walk through also, we don't view that as getting direct hana, as getting enough hana, enough benefit to be over your neder. It says the Gemara, but you know who argues on that principle? Who says even a minimal amount of hana, things that people are not makbid on, that's still usher? That's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanya Eliezer Oimer afilu viter usher with hana. Even things that people are generally mevater on, people generally, give away, let go of, even those things are usher behana. The example is, I believe, let's say usually a salesman, usually he sells things to people. So let's see, the case the Rashbam gives, at least there's a few cases, but you want to buy 100 nuts for a pruta. Now the seller always sells you an extra 1 or 2. That's always how he does it. When you buy you give him a pruta. Technically, it says, on the label 100 nuts, but he always gives an extra 1 or 2 to everybody. So now, is that extra 1 or 2 nuts that he gives for your pruta, is that considered getting benefit from the guy or not getting benefit from the guy? On the one hand, you only paid for 100, you're getting 101. On the other hand, this is part of his business thing. This is part of, I don't know why he does this. He wants everyone to come back to his store. This is part. That's what he does for everybody, not just for you. If he did it just for you, so then that's a problem. If you prohibit yourself from getting hana from the guy, but if he does it for everybody, so then is that really viewed like you got benefit from him? So says Rabbi Eliezer, yes, it is, and therefore he's the same one who holds that by the Mishnah that 2 partners make a vow that they cannot get any benefit from each other. It's him who will not allow the partner to enter into his own courtyard, even though these partners are not generally strict about who can enter and who cannot enter into their courtyard. Okay, from now until I don't know when, for a while. No, from now until basically the Mishnah and the Chatzam base, we're about to have a lot of stories. So buckle your seatbelt. Here we go. And a lot of them have to do with Rabbi Bana. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rabbi Bana. Oh, I guess not this line, but in a few lines. B'chol shutin ma'achven zedze. Chutz min hakvisa. So in general, shutin partners can prevent the other person from doing things that they don't like, except for min hakvisa. Except for, let's say the person's daughters have to go wash the clothing. So let's say they're going to wash it. They're going to wash it in the chutzner, right? So if one of the partner's daughters want to go wash clothing and use the chutzner for washing it and drying it and things like that, then you are not allowed to stop the other person. Why? Because what's the alternative? You should go to the river. That's not a possibility. Why not? She'ein darkan shel benos Yisrael. It's not the derech, it's not the way of Jewish girls. Lehizbazos al hakvisa. Apparently, when you would wash by the river, there's certain ways of bending down, a certain exposure, which is a disgrace for a Jewish girl, and it's not tznius. Therefore, you have to allow your friend to let their daughter use your chutzner, your courtyard, to do the laundry. Says the Gemara pasuk, "Va'otzim einav miros ra." You should close your eyes from seeing bad things. What is that pasuk? What is that pasuk in Yeshaya referring to? You should really close your eyes, stop your eyes from seeing bad. Amr Chibar Abba, she'ein mistakel b'noshim b'shar shomeres halak visa. It's somebody who does not stare at women who are standing along the river. Well, hold on. What's the case? Hey, chidami. So, if he has two ways to get to work, one is passing by the river with a lot of girls, and one is not. So that's not this pasuk. That's Russia. That we call a Russia. There's two ways to go, and you still chose that way. Hold on. If there's the only way to work to go, and you have to go, so anasu, this is an unavoidable situation. What are you supposed to do? You have to walk this way. Says the Gemara, no. La'olam deleka darka achrina. There is no other way to go. Even though there's no other way to go, you still have to try as hard as you can to avoid this sight. To force yourself to close your eyes, not look the other way, something along those lines. Now Rabbi Bana takes the headline over the next daf. Bo minei Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Bana. Now we're gonna have a whole bunch of halachas about Talmudei Chachamim, and then we're gonna talk about Rabbi Bana going to different caves, different graves of the avos. Okay. Bo minei Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Bana. How should the shirt of a Talmud Chacham look like? How should he dress? He should put it on that you cannot see any skin under it. The outer cloak of a Talmud Chacham, how should he wear it? As long as the undershirt, you can't see more than a tefach of the undershirt, that would be a proper way for a Talmud Chacham to dress. Shulchan shel Talmud Chacham ketzad. It's interesting. How should the table of Talmud Chacham look? So, shnei shlishik dil, v'shlish giloi. 2/3 of the table should be covered with a tablecloth. 1/3 should be exposed. On that 1/3 that's exposed, the alav ka'aros, the yarik, the taba'aso mibachutz. Put down his plates and his utensils, and the ring is mibachutz. So remember, they have like a sort of like a baby has, like a baby tray when you sit on it. They had these kinds of small fold-up tables. They used to move them away for benching. That's the Gemara Pesachim says. I think Pesachim. One way you knew when it was time to bench, they would take the table and put it away. Now it's time to bench. So I guess they have this ring. This ring helps you with folding the table up. Now they had 2/3 covered, 1/3 uncovered, because that way you can use the tablecloth to wipe your mouth if it gets dirty. However, the actual utensils will go on the 1/3, and the taba also and the ring to the table that helps to, I guess, fold it up. I think so. That would be mibachutz. That would be on the. We'll see in a second why. That'll be on the outer end of the table, and not the inner part of the table. Hi, how could it be v'hatanya tabasam b'fnim? The Brisa says you put the ring of the table on the inside. Okay. Lo kasha. Ha deika yenuka. Ha deleka yenuka. It depends if there's a child there. If there's a child there, so then who's sitting next to his father to eat, you got to put the ring on the outside so it doesn't pull on it. But if there's no child there, then you can put the ring even on the inside next to the person eating. Maybe another answer is that there's no little child, but still, there's a servant, someone who's serving you, a waiter. And so when there is a waiter, so you should put on the inside so that the waiter shouldn't trip over it. When there's no waiter, then you can put on the outside. Third answer, in both cases, you have a waiter. When it's the daytime, you can put on the outside. He's not going to trip over it. When it's balayla, it's more dangerous. Put it on the inside. Yeah. Okay. V'shel ama aretz, and the tail of ama aretz is dome le medura v'kederos mekifa soso. It's dome to like a bonfire, which is the fire's in the middle, and the kederes and the plates all around. So to here, the tablecloth and the bread is in the middle, and the ka'aros are all around the table. I did see yesterday in the there's a commentary on a Gada called Ein Yaakov. So the Kollel has an art scroll. Ein Yaakov, they brought a lot of interesting footnotes. So a few commentaries take this Gemara, this interesting Gemara about tables and Talmud Chacham, and how his table should look like, very homiletically, and they interpret it in terms of personal conduct and things like that. So it's much more behind these lines than meet the eye.
What it seems like is that the Amaritz is pretty much the way we set our tables these days.
Right. That's interesting. I mean, it says
people around the food.
Right. I mean, it says the tablecloth and the food is in the middle, and the plates are around it.
How do we set our
but
tables?
In
the middle and the plates in the middle.
And the tablecloth in the middle means what? It goes across the whole table?
Well, I mean, the other table, you get the rungs, but I mean, basically our table does cover the whole table, but the way the food is set up.
Maybe that's pshat. It says like Talmud Chacham, he puts 2/3 covered, 1/3 uncovered, he can take it and wipe off his mouth. If the tablecloth is totally in the middle, and the bread's in the middle, and then everyone, it sounds like the tablecloth is just under the bread, or covers the rest of the table.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the tablecloths are set kind of horizontal.
Right. I guess then it's harder to use it to wipe. So that's the reason.
No, but for the Talmud Chacham, it seems like the tablecloth is set along the length.
Mm-hmm.
People sat on one side of the table, the food was on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I understood it.
I mean, just looking at the art scroll.
Right. It says 2/3 covered, 1/3 uncovered. Oh, you're saying it means that way.
The tablecloth would run like that, with the food there.
I thought he was at the end of the table. Oh, why? Because then he can't reach it so easily. Oh, I didn't realize that. I viewed it more like at the end of the table, and 2/3 is covered.
Until I kind of looked at the art scroll comment.
No, but you're right, because if the whole point is that you could wipe your mouth when it's dirty, to reach over 1/3 of the table, unless they had very small tables.
They were.
Yeah, they were very small tables. Okay. Either vertically and you had to do a little reaching, or horizontally. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mita shel Talmidei Chachamim. How should the bed of a Talmid Chacham be? Ketzad kol she'ein tachteh ela sandalin b'mosach chama u'minalin b'mosach geshamim. 2 kinds of shoes. I think a hard leather versus soft leather. That when the rainy season you have harder shoes because it's have more durable. In the summer season you have lighter shoes. You should have nothing under your bed except for these things. The Ram points out, we know from Sachim that food under your bed, there's a ruach ra, some evil spirit over it. So all you have are these things under your bed. Yeah. Domel otzer bolus. So that it's doma to like what do you use? Mixed up flour. It's one big mishkabah basically. Right? What? How's your answer? Otzer bolus is a jumble storeroom. Yeah. In Yiddish we say cholent. Yeah. A cholent, a total meaning a total mess under his bed. Yeah. Okay. Fine. And we continue. Here we go. Rabbi Bana. Story time. Rabbi Bana haveka mitzayin ma'arasa. So Rabbi Bana would go and he would demarcate where graves end and where graves start in order to know, people should know that it's tameh and you shouldn't go near it. Yeah. Okay. So he ended up kimatal marasa davram. So Rabbi Noah came to the kever, to the grave of Avram Avinu, and guess who he found? Eshachei leEliezer Eved Avram, the Kai Kamei Bava. The loyal Eved wasn't only loyal Eved in his life, even after he died. Eliezer was there, like protecting the grave. So Amrlei Eved Avram, the Kai Kamei Bava, he was standing by the entrance. Amrlei. So Ma'ika Eved Avram, Rabbi Bana asked Eliezer, Avram's servant, What's Avram Avinu doing now? Amrle Gani bekanfa de Sarah. Interesting. It's lying in the arms of Sarah. The Kama'ainale Bereshe. And she's being ma'ayin in his head. So he's lying in her arms and she's looking at his head. So Amrle Zil Emale Bana Kaya Bava. Basically, he wanted to come in. He could demarcate the graves where Tumah is. So he said, "Go tell Avram Avinu that Bava's here, that Benah's here by the Bava, by the entrance." So he went and he told him, and Avram Avinu responded, "Amar Lei, Leil, you can enter. Why? The Yetzer by Amaleka. So we know that there's no Yetzer Hara in this world." Meaning, he understood that Rabbi Bana is someone who, seeing such a sight, is not going to invoke any Yetzer Hara, and therefore he'd be allowed in. And some commentaries say that from here is one of the sources that, but for everybody else, it would be inappropriate for a couple to do some things like this in public because it arouses Yetzer Hara. But since we know about Bana that that's not true, he can enter. So what happened? Ayin, Benafak. Entered. He was an ayin, exactly where to put, the kever and the nafak, and then he left. Okay. Now, Kimata Lamarasa, the Adam Arishon, when he got to the grave of Adam Arishon, what happened? Yotz the Baskol of Amra Istakalta Bidimus Diyukni. Bidiyukni Atzma Al Tistakel. On the way to Adam Arishon, you pass by Yaakov Avinu. And it says the Baskol, you saw a copy of the image of me, of Hashem. The image of Hashem himself, Al Tistakel. Meaning, we know that Adam Rishon was formed himself by Hashem, right? He was formed in the image of God. So everybody else was created like Adam Rishon. But Adam Rishon himself was like the image of God. So the Basel came down from Shemaim and said, listen, you saw something which looks like my image. My image itself, don't stare at that. Meaning, don't go near Adam Rishon. Yeah, okay. But he said, he said, I need to go and be Messiah. I have to demarcate the graves and then say, where they end and where they start, where they stop, so people should know about Tumah, that they shouldn't go near it. So the Baskol said, it's the same size as the one you just saw. The one on the outer is the same as the one on the inner. Don't worry. Okay. And according to the opinion that holds that in Maris and Machpelah, it's like two floors, one on top of the other. So the same one that you just demarcated up top on the second floor, that's the same measurement as the one on the first floor, meaning whatever you just did by Avram Avinu, that's the same measurements over here. Okay. Amr Rabbi Banon is the Kalti B'shnei Akiva. B'shnei Eka, maybe. He saw the two heels of Adam Rishon, the domim l'shnei gilgalei chama, and they resemble two rays of light. These are very esoteric gemaras. I'm sure there's a lot of ink spilled on the deeper meaning behind this. But his two heels, it's interesting, Parshat Ekev this week, yeah? So two heels are similar to the two rays of sunlight. Okay, fine. Hakol b'fnei Sarah. Sarah was so beautiful that everyone else, okay guys, don't get insulted, everyone else is kikof. Hakol b'fnei Sarah, kikof, is like a monkey compared to Sarah. But kikof b'fnei Adam. Sarah b'fnei Chava is also kikof b'fnei Adam. It's like a monkey in front of a person. So meaning Chava was that much more beautiful that Sarah to Chava is like everyone else to Sarah, which is like a regular monkey to a human being. That's the difference in beauty. Chava b'fnei Adam kikop Adam, and Adam is so beautiful that even Chava to him is a difference between a monkey to a person. Adam b'fnei Shechina, a person. Adam Rishon b'fnei Shechina is kikop b'fnei Adam, and the difference between Adam and the Shechina is also the distance of a monkey to a person. Okay. Shufra de Rav Kahana. The beauty of Rav Kahana was Me'ain Shufrei de Rav. Shufrei de Rav means Shufrei de Rabbi Abo. The beauty of Rav Kahana was like the beauty of Rav. And Rav's beauty was like the beauty of Rabbi Abo. Shufrei de Rabbi Abo is Me'ain Shufrei de Yaakov. That was so great. It was like the beauty of Yaakov Avinu. Shufrei de Yaakov Avinu is Me'ain Shufrei de Adam Rishon. That's like the beauty of Adam Rishon. And that's what the Gemara meant earlier, that the Basel came down from heaven and said, you saw someone that looked like Adam Rishon. You saw something similar to my image, but my image itself, don't stare at, meaning you saw Yaakov, but don't come stare at Adam Rishon. Because you see, Yaakov is only Me'ain Adam Rishon. He's like Adam Rishon, but he's not as beautiful as Adam Rishon. Okay. Yeah, another funny story. Hahu Amgusha, there was a magician. The Have Chotit Shichve, sounds like he would go and dig into people's graves. Kimata Amarasa Dirav Tuvi Bar Masna. When he got to the grave of Tuvi Bar Masna, I think he was trying to dig it up, right? Yeah. So Tafsa, the guy chapped him. Tafse Bidikne. So the Tuvi Bar Masna went and grabbed his beard. So he tried to get him, but he came up and he grabbed his beard. Also Abaye came. No, sorry, I skipped. Yeah, Asabai. Amrle, B'matusa Minach. So he asked him to let go. So, one second, what's Matusa Minach? Yeah, Matusa Minach Shafke. So he begs him, I beg you to release him. Okay, so Abai made it happen. Shafke. L'shana Chrisa, the guy did the same mistake. Hadar also went back to the same grave, and then what happened? Tafsir B'dikna, the guy grabbed his beard. Asa Abaye, and he asked him the same thing. But lo shafke ad the oisi misifra, the gazya le dikna. So what happened here? The dead body wouldn't release him until Abai brought a pair of scissors and cut the magician's beard. Yeah. Okay. Someone was dying and they told their kids, Ahu de Amar lahu, Chavita de Avra lechadbroi, one bucket of earth to one son, Chavita de Garme lechadbroi, one bucket of bones to another son, and Chavita de Udra, and one bucket of cotton lechadbroi. And that was the will. So, lo have yade, my comer lahu. What in the world did he just bequeath us? There's no buckets of earth, bones, or cotton lying around. So also the kameh, who they go to? Rabbi Bana. Rabbi Bana. Amr lahu, no. He said, Islahu ara? He said, is there any land around here? Amr lay in. Yeah. Islahu chiyusa, you have any animals here? They said, in. Islahu bistarki, I think different kinds of blankets. They said, in. Okay, so that's what he meant by a bucket of earth and bones and cotton. What he meant was one son gets land, one son gets the animals, and one son gets the blankets. Okay. Hahu Gavra, this is a very unfortunate marital situation. A husband overheard the following conversation between his wife and his daughter. Ahu Gavra, the Shami Lebitu, he heard his wife, the Ka'amra Lebarta, who was speaking to her daughter. So, and the daughter was involved in a lot of illicit actions. So the mother had enough dignity to say, Amai lo tznius b'yisura. So be a little more tznius in your illicit acts. and now she's going to talk about herself in the third person. Yeah. So listen. Hach isasa, this lady, meaning me, asara banai isla, this lady, meaning this mother, she's saying, I have 10 children, and only one of them belongs to my husband, to the father. And I mean, she was saying, look how tznius I am. He thinks he has 10 children. Only one belongs to him. So the father overheard this, being in the right place at the right time. So Kishacha, when he was dying, Amar lahu, kol nechasai lechad bra. All my possessions will only go to one son, not to all 10. So all 10 are there by the deathbed, and they don't know who the possessions go to. So lo yadi l'hai minayu. So who they go to? Rabbi Bana. Also coming to Rabbi Bana. So he said the following piece of advice. Amar lahu, he told them, Zilu chavutu kavra. Go and bang on the kever that davuchon ad dekoi umagale lechu l'hai minaychu. Go and bang on his grave until he comes and tells you, which one of you gets the inheritance. So Shafka Azlakulu, but Tahu Debrai Have Lo Azil. 9 sons went to the kever, 1 son stayed home. The son who was really his son stayed home. How he knew, I guess he had father-son intuition. So Amar Lahu, so the father gets up from the kever and he said, Kulu Nuchase Dehai. So he said all of the possessions are going to go to that son. So yeah. So Azlu Achlu Kurtza Beimalka. So they went. So they went. Now the sons are pretty upset at Rabbi Bana for this piece of advice. So they went to the king, and they said the following: Amri, Ika Gavrachad b'Yehudai. There's one Jew, the Kamapik Mamona Minchi V'loy Sadik, that extracts money from people without witnesses. Ubelo Raya, and without any proof. So they went and they found this Jew, Asyu and Chavshuhu. They went and they placed Rabbi Bana. They took Rabbi Bana and they imprisoned him. So now, Rabbi Bana's wife not happy about this. She's gonna make a protest. What did she do? Ozla de Bitu. So his wife came before the king's court and said the following. Very cryptic statement. Amr lahu, she said to them, of the Chad Havili, I had one servant. So what happened? People came, Paskul Reshe, robbers came, cut off his head, Pashtu Lemishche, and they stripped his hide. Sounds like his clothing maybe. Va'achlu Bisri, and they went and they ate his flesh. The Kamalu Bei Maya, and when they need to fill up water, what they do? The Kamalu Bei Maya. They used the hide of this Eved, and they made and they filled up water with it. And they would give their friends to drink from it. And what happened? They never paid me for this. They didn't give me money. Below igri. They didn't pay me its worth, or they didn't pay me its rental worth. Nothing. Took my avid, cut off his head, skinned the flesh, used it as a jug of water, served it to their friends. So now the people in the king's court are listening to this and they're like, Lo yadi Micah, what in the world? Lo yadi Micah amra lahu. So now apparently it wasn't just like a crazy lady and get out of here. Apparently she had enough stature or it was, a wise enough riddle that they had to decipher it. Meaning usually you'd say just, okay, another crazy lady, get out of here. But here they got curious. What in the world is she saying? So Omri, Nesu l'chakimaydi Yehudai, Velema, go find a wise Jew and tell us what in the world is this lady saying. So who they call? Karyu Rabbi Bana. Rabbi Bana was called up. So Amar Lahu, he told them, Amar Lahu, Zarnuka Amar Lahu. She was talking about a skin bottle. Meaning, this whole story sounds like there was it says here it was a goat. I don't know how to get a goat, but it was referring to a certain animal, and that animal was stolen, and it was skinned. It wasn't referring to an eved. Other commentators take issue that the word eved in the deciphering the story means a goat, but some kind of animal. So yeah, okay. Some say maybe she's referring to Rabbi Bana herself. Some say it's referring to a goat. Fine. Either way, she deciphered the cryptic statement that basically someone stole her animal and used it. Okay, so now what happened? Amri, hoil v'chacham kulei hai. You understood what she was saying. You're such a great chacham. You're such a big chacham. You know what you're gonna do? Hayi leisev abava v'nidon dina. You're gonna sit by the entrance over here, and you're gonna judge the cases. It's like Yosef's not like, no, he went from jail to like second in command. This guy went from imprisonment to now, the head judge. Okay, so now he went there and he's gonna see a number of inscriptions, on the gate, that are inscribed, and he's gonna take issue with many of them. Okay, so he went there to his new position. He's upgraded to be the head judge. Chaza dehavik siv be'avula. He saw that it's written on the avula, on the doors of the gates. Kol dayan dimskari ledin lo shmei dayan. Any judge who's even summoned to court is not a real judge, and he's puzzled to judge. Why? Why are you being summoned? Why are you being questioned for monetary issues? The mere summoning to court, it says, it's written there, we take away your status of a judge, and you're no longer able to judge monetary cases. So Amr Lahu, so Rabbi Bana said to them, sounds like the people in the king's court, so he said, Ela me'ata, what's going to happen? Asa inish me'alma. If a guy knows that his judge is a good judge, what's he going to do? He's going to go and summon him to court. Asa me'alma umazmin ladina and pasle. He's going to go and just summon the judge to court. And what's going to happen? Because he was summoned to court, he's now puzzled. He's now not able to judge any more monetary cases. That's not a good idea. Rather, do like this. Ella, kol dayan dimiskari ladin, and umafkin minei mamona bedin la dayan. That's what you should write. Any judge who gets summoned to court, and in the court of law, they take money out from him, they extract money from him, okay, such a dayan is going to lose his ability to judge. So what they do, so Kasu, under this inscription, they wrote, Kasu hachi baram sabed yudai. Yeah. However, the elders, the wise, the elders of the Jews, Amri, kol dayan dimiskar ledin umafkin minei mamona bedin lav shmei dayan. They took what Rabbi Bana said, and under their old inscription, they wrote this inscription. Okay. Next thing he saw that it said was Chazad Iksiv. Oh, Barosh Kol Mosa, Ana Dam. The head of all death is blood. Barosh Kol Chayin, Ana is Chamar. But the head of all life is wine. So says Rabbi Bana, Ela Me'ata, the Nafel Me'igro Meis, the guy fell from a rooftop and is dying, or Nafel Medikla, falls from a palm tree, who miss. So he's going to say, what killed him? That there's too much blood in his body. Dama kotle, v'su min didarke lememis mashkele chamre. And what are you going to do? V'chai, a guy's on his deathbed, and you're going to give him wine. Meaning, your inscription that everyone dies because there's too much blood, and everyone lives because there's too much wine. That's not a correct statement. Ella Hachi, by the way, write it the following way. Write it in the following way. Berosh Kol Marin, Ana is down. The head of all diseases is going to be the surplus of blood. And Berosh Kol. Yeah. and the head of all, and the head of all cures, Barosh Kol Asvan, on a Chamar, meaning certain diseases can be is caused because of surplus of blood, and a certain way to prevent diseases is going to be with wine. So that's a better way to write it. What they do, they took what he said and they wrote it under their inscription. They wrote his inscription. The Osir delays Chamar Talmud Mizbo Samon, and then they wrote. So now, in a place where there's no wine, so then you can use different kinds of herbs to cure yourself. Okay. Last line before the Mishnah, Ksiv Apischa Dikaptukaya. So it's written on the entrance to Kaptukaya, which is a place. Yeah, the entrance to Aptukaya. What does it say? Anpak Agbel Antal. So as this cryptic line of Anpak Agbel Antal. What's that? Ve'ezu Antal Zehu Revius Shel Torah. It says on the entrance to this place called Kaptukaya. Anpak Antal is all a measurement. What's Antal? That's a revius shel Torah. That is considered a fourth, a revius of a lug. So, which is really an egg and a half, a beitzo mechza. Now that measurement of a revius is really of rabbinic origin. The reason why it says revius shel Torah, because we have different examples in the Torah that that you're going to need. Since there are different things like the Arba Kosos on Pesach that are biblical, and for there you need a revius of wine to fulfill it, or by a nazir he can't drink a revius, so that's why it refers to here of a revius shel Torah. Okay, good job.